Welcome to the Empowered Podcast with Deanna Merlino, an all-encompassing personal development show where I will be sharing with you just how to transform yourself into the best version of you, both inside and out. From wellness, entrepreneurship, spirituality, and manifestation, I'll be showing you exactly how to live your best life. I will be keeping it as real and raw as it gets. So get ready to peel back the layers and really transform yourself under the surface. Because nothing is better than finding your purpose and living this life as your true, authentic self.
Hello, Empowered fam. I'm happy to be back with you today from my home, from my office space, my recording corner, not speaking on my phone. So hopefully the quality of this week is a little better. Thank you for bearing with me. Last week's message was still potent though, so I'm so glad I took the time to share. But this week's feeling a little heavy, right? And so I wanted to open up this space for everyone listening and know that I'm just here for you. I am supporting you. I am actually just taking a quick moment and running calming energy through your system, grounding you deeply into Mother Earth, just alchemizing some of that heavier frequencies. So in today's episode, I want to talk about the chaos and how chaos is most always the precursor for freedom and calm and love and alignment. And I wanted to talk about this because I actually was attending a family funeral this weekend. It just so happens every time I go on family funerals to Ohio, I end up, anytime I travel, I listen to Kathrin's podcast, but I get really good messages. When you're in a grief portal, a grief journey, a grief, just a season, a grief season, you heal differently, you hear differently, you feel differently, you think differently. And so I was hearing with different ears, essentially. And I heard a reminder of something that I haven't had cross my mind in a while. And I'm listening to her podcast episodes still from, I think I'm like back in 2019 or 2020 at this point. It was such a good reminder because she was having a tough moment, a tough period in her business. And while my business is booming, my business is doing great. But on a collective level, shit is messy, right? Like this past weekend, I don't know when you're listening to this, but this past weekend, we had the attempted assassination of our former President Trump. And I don't care what side of politics you're on, that is a serious low point. There should not be, there shouldn't be purposeful, um, there shouldn't be purposeful abuse or violence or anything in that form on any political realm ever anywhere in the world, right? But especially in our great nation, it's just it's a very low point, right? That's certainly something that's going to go down in history as previous assassinations and attempted assassinations have as well, rightfully so. And so I want to talk about this because, and actually, like I just mentioned, like my business is booming, my business is doing great, but everything is connected on the big scale, on a small scale, on a cosmic scale, on a personal scale, as above, so below, as within, so without, as universe, so soul. It's all connected from a microcosm to a macrocosm. Everything is reflected on the larger and grander scale and the smaller and personal scale. And so we are having this collective crumbling. And I will say that most people that I know are also going through a personal crumbling right now as well. It just may not be my time. I do deep work almost all of the time. And so maybe that's just not in, my place right now. But as we speak, Mars, which is, literally about war. And then there's Uranus and there is Chiron, the wounded healer, like this is the crumbling. So your life may be up and down, whether that's, a relationship falling apart, or realizing that a relationship needs to fall apart, or losing a job, or losing a family member, or friendships ending. Um, just a realization that the way things have been can no longer be in the same way. Like there is just so much happening right now, right? And so I wanted to talk about this because it's not talked about a lot in the personal development realm, in the manifestation realm, in the coaching realm. And it felt really important for me to bring this back up. A lot of times, especially in like last week's podcast episode was about manifesting. And I didn't touch on this because this is something that I do deeply in my 21-day manifest program, is the deep internal work, because you can do you can have all the manifesting tools, you can do all the affirmations, you can do all the vision boarding, you can do all the whatever it is, right? Like those things work, yes, but they are just like the sprinkles and the nuts and the cherry. Like if you're not scooping the ice cream first, you don't have a sundae, right? Like you have to, the inner work is what actually is the root of manifestation, and manifesting. And so that work is done within that container. But most people don't realize that chaos precedes peace, freedom, love, and alignment. It just has to. And so let's talk a little bit deeper about this. Because there's so many people who are like, oh, well, if things aren't working right now, then that must be the universe telling me that this isn't right for me. Or if it's not easy, then it must not be right for me. Or, I've been doing this deep healing work and shit's falling apart. I lost my job. I lost my partner. My best friend and I aren't speaking. I'm having an argument with a family member. Good. Like, sorry to put it bluntly, but there's a reason for that happening. Obviously, maybe that job, it wasn't right for you and you weren't listening. And so you got to a point where the universe is like, I'm going to pluck it for you because you have a purpose that's much larger for you and you are playing a part in this massive puzzle of life and you're not doing your part. And so you asked for this. So I'm going to help you along. Like in the moment, does it suck? Shit, yeah, but it's a blessing. And you will get, I promise, if you keep an open mind and you keep moving forward, and if you keep opening your heart in gratitude, and if you keep doing the deep healing, you will get to a point where these hard things are a blessing and you'll realize that they're a blessing, right? Like if that partner left you, clearly they weren't the right partner for you. And you have to take away something else in order to bring in something new. Like you can't have two partners. Well, I mean, it's 2024. You can do whatever you want, I suppose. No judgment. But in a divine aligned relationship where there are two partners, and that's what you choose for yourself. It's okay to not choose that. I'm not going down this rabbit hole. I don't know why I'm explaining myself. If you are asking for your soulmate, your divine partner, and you're in a relationship already and it's not working for you and it's not meant for you, which means it's also not meant for them, you guys are just slowing yourself and holding you back from your actual divine aligned partners. And so it's got to go. Sorry, the trash has got to be taken out. And it's like you have to make space for something new, right? Maybe you're having that argument with a family member or a friend. Well, maybe your relationship was not based on full truth and authenticity. Maybe you were walking on eggshells. Maybe you were carrying yourself in a way that you knew was in alignment with their beliefs and programming and patterning, to not muddy the waters, to not ruffle any feathers, right? Like we are at a point energetically where that shit cannot sail anymore. And so for me, I like to get ahead of it. I like to do the work so that I get to choose when things happen in my life for the most part, right? I'm not perfect, and some things just happen in divine timing that are against what I would have liked or expected. But for the most part, I am pretty much well ahead of all my stuff that I can control because I am consistently diving in deep. And so when you're doing this work, it may get chaotic first, or maybe you're not doing any of the work and you're like, holy shit, the world is in sheer chaos. Everything's really bad. Everything's falling apart. Like I feel so out of control. Just know that You can take control of your life, not everything. You cannot control everything, but you can take control of your life by focusing on yourself and doing the work within yourself. Remember, as within, so without. So what's happening on a grand scale is a reflection of the internal, right? The internal will reflect into the external. And we're all connected collectively, but you can and should, it's the only thing that you can genuinely affect with control, from a sense of control, is yourself. So look into your internal world. What work needs to be done, right? And you learn in this journey, right? You learn discernment. You learn to kind of zoom out. Like, is this happening because it's out of alignment? And you can feel into that. You can question into that with your senses. You can use your intuition and discern it. Or is something just falling apart because something good is coming on the other end? Our structures, our systems, our old like societal programming and patterns, they're not welcome here anymore. I've been talking about New Earth coming for a while. I'm pretty sure that 2030 is maybe 2032, now that I'm saying this, because I wasn't going to talk about this, but the new earth is coming. Like it's non-negotiable. It is coming. And that means that everything that is out of alignment has to fall away first. Okay, so let's think about this from the perspective of like this new way of being that's coming, and also from a manifestation perspective, because some of you are more into like, I just want to manifest shit. And some of you are like, I just want to heal shit. And quite frankly, they're both intertwined and they meet in the middle. But let's talk about this. These were like the best way that I've heard this described, and it made so much sense to me. One, okay, you're manifesting your new car, right? You're working for that new car, you're dreaming up that new car, you're attracting that new car, and it comes. You have to get rid of the old car first, so there's no room in your garage for the new car, right? Like you have to get rid of the old and make space for something new. This is why a lot of times in my moon healings, I always talk about clear your space, clean your space, get rid of the old, make way for new, clean your closet, donate, or clean your office desk, whatever it is. Like you have to clear space. The law of vacuum literally states that nothing will ever be left empty. So you can keep all the same stuff and everything will stay the same, or you can empty it out and we'll make space for something new. And this is where reprogramming and rewiring limiting beliefs is important, because the old stuff will just fill with the same stuff if nothing changes, if you don't change who you are, who you're being, how you're showing up. But you can wire yourself and change your magnetic field to attract in higher stuff. So get rid of it. There, you must make space for something new, and then that of alignment can come in. And so to talk about this more, like as we go through these tough times, and you may be thinking to yourself, like, okay, things are really bad right now, but I've been doing all the work. Why is this happening? I don't understand. Like I've been investing, I've been healing, I've been growing, I've been speaking my voice, I've been being authentic, right? Okay, think of yourself as being in a giant video game. Because quite frankly, in my opinion, we are we are in a giant cosmic video game, and we are the stars, the key player in the video game, right? We are the star of the show in our own life. And so you're going through each level, and maybe you're getting like, let's think of like a Mario game, and you hit the little question box and you get a mushroom and it makes you grow a little bit. And then once you grow, you take on the big bad guy at the end of the level, right? And we'll take that big bad guy at the end of the level as being the lesson you have to learn, the struggle that you're dealing with, the end of the relationship, the loss of the job, the the argument with the setting boundaries with the family member that leads to an argument, whatever it is. And then you conquer the big bad boss and you move on to the next level, and you're like, yeah, I did it. Yeah, that was so much fun. Woohoo. And you grew along the way, right? You had that mushroom power up, you turned into the big guy, and then you got through the next level. And then things are fun. And then you level up again because you learned something in the process of becoming. That's the point of it all. And then you get to another big bad guy, right? So it's this process of learning, growing, hard times, learning, growing, hard times with fun and enjoyment sprinkled in. Like, it's fun to play a video game, right? Like, it has to be fun and joy too, but that's pretty much what's happening. And so that big guy, when you can't beat the big guy and you're like, oh, I just got to try the level again, got to try the level again, got to try the level again, got to keep trying until you actually learn, until you've actually overcome, until you're actually ready to level up and receive that next level of alignment, to receive that next level that you've been manifesting. And then you continue that process. That big bad guy, shit's going to be chaotic for a little bit when you're fighting with the bad guy, right? And this is a really good time to point out that that bad guy might be your ego, your subconscious, the limiting beliefs, the wounding, the aspects of yourself that are in the shadow work, right? Like, this is why life is a big video game. It's a perfect analogy. It's all going to be okay. Okay, even when it feels hard, even when it feels scary, even when it feels chaotic, even when it feels unknown, even when it feels bigger than you, even when it feels out of control, even when you're like, oh my gosh, what good could possibly come from this? I promise you, I assure you, everything is going according to plan. The light has already won. Everything will be okay. Just focus on playing your role in all of it. Focus on being the light in the darkness. Focus on, you do that by showing up, standing in your power, speaking your voice, bringing your gift to the world, being a light for others, holding space for others, and healing along the way to transmute and alchemize your own shadows. We win this by each of us doing our part on the micro level, so it shows up on the macro level. Like, we're literally all in this together. Do your part, show up, heal, grow, expand, stand in your power, bring your gifts to the world. Okay. When shit gets dark, be the light. I will never stop saying that. I'm here for you. I'm always here for you. If you need to chat, I'm here for you. I have so many resources for you. I have free resources on Instagram. I obviously have the podcasts that are free. If you're looking for healing sessions, healing programs, mentorship, retreats, whatever it is, like, I have committed myself to pouring into being a creator, bringing all that I have learned and packaging it up so that I can give it to you. Obviously, in exchange for my time and energy comes an exchange of a financial investment. That is me bringing my gifts to the world, and everyone gets blessed that way, right? The purchaser and the provider, because then it just continues. It is a never-ending pattern. So what can you do to bring your gifts to the world? What can you do to hold space in the world? What can you do to provide healing in the world? What can you do to bring more light back into the balance, right? There will always be the polar aspects. The polarity aspects are there to show you what we don't want. Like, obviously, the shit is not good. We don't want it. So who can we be in order to alchemize it and get to the other side of the polar spectrum and experience the other side of it, right? Okay. I love you all. I think that's all I have. I hope you have an amazing day, an amazing week, and I will see you next time on the Empowered with Deanna Merlino podcast.
Thank you all so much for listening to today's episode. If you want to dive deeper in with me, you can follow me on Instagram at theempoweredcoach333. You can also check out everything I have to offer on my website, which is deannamerlino.com. Whatever platform you are listening on, do your girl a favor and please rate and subscribe. This means so much to me and is going to help the show grow and reach so many other people. I am so grateful that you are here with me on this journey of growth and self-empowerment. I cannot say that it will always be easy, but I do promise that it will always be worth it. Stick with me and let's start living as the version of ourselves that we were truly meant to be, because the world is waiting on your gifts and you deserve to live the life of your wildest dreams and beyond. So friends, let's get empowered.